Hey everybody, welcome back and thank all of y'all for being here today, especially you, Andrew. I love you. Today we are talking about knowing ourselves and how critical that is. It sounds kind of simple on the surface, but it's not. And stick with us a little bit and pay attention because I think you're going to learn something from this. And one of the right out of the gate, we're just going to ask ourselves, can you sit with yourself totally alone with no distractions? It's really difficult for most people. And on the surface, that seems like, oh, sure, I sit with myself all the time. I'm talking about alone with zero distractions. Zero. And that's what we're going to go over some today. But this is some of the things we're going to be discussing. And some of the methods to better know ourselves, like asking ourselves questions. Like the infinite, in my estimation, has given us one really big, powerful tool, is asking why. Why? Why does my spouse irritate me? Why do I get pissed off so easy? Why don't I make enough money? Why am I always worried? You know, there's always these whys in everybody's life. And do we step back and find solutions, or we just live in those moments without ever examining them? I mentioned this. I think some of y'all may have been here some months back when I said one of the solutions that I find very helpful for me is to pretend you have a camera on. And just in everyday life, like if you're hanging out with your friends, you're just like some guys were here fishing, you know, hanging out with each other, just pretend there's a camera on you. And after you're done with whatever you're doing, reflect on that, rewind it in your head and say, am I the kind of person that I would want to be a friend with? Am I annoying? Am I irritating? Do I get on people's nerves? Do I talk too much? Do I not talk enough? Like those are really powerful. That's a really powerful tool of self-examination, because would you be a friend to yourself? Most people have never considered that before. And I think it's important. And if we can sit alone without any distractions, no cell phone, no babies crying, no anything, just alone for 10 to 15 minutes a day. Set our intentions in the morning. How am I going to deal with whatever my life's problems are today? How am I going to get over that? Because we all got them. The three of us right here, we're just talking about how stressed out we've been lately. If we wake up every morning and practice that in our meditations or setting, you just talk to yourself. I do it all the time. And I know from a friend of mine that's sitting out here that when we don't do that, it starts to compound our life's problems. It makes a big difference when we don't set our intentions. And plus, if y'all pay attention, there's going to be a lot more to this. It's pretty fascinating to me. Mother Nature shows us that we need depth to ourselves. Like, I know most of y'all have heard this, as above, so below. It has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people. But I like to think of it as a tree, because Mother Nature clearly shows us that we need to be grounded. That tree needs to be rooted to be able to grow. And typically those roots, in most trees, but not all, most trees, they will go as deep as they are high, or as far out as they are in their breadth. It's a great illustration, or Mother Nature showing us that if we don't have depth to ourselves, if we're not rooted in our own self-worth, our own self-valuing, like how we communicate with ourselves and how we communicate with others, if we don't have a depth to our soul, then what do we really have? You know, we're like that shallow tree that's easily blown over in the wind. And a lot of people are like that because they just don't have any depth to them. And we're going to get into that really strong in just a second. And that depth normally revolves around some kind of passion. So this is a good question. Super good question. What drives your passion? Like, most people don't even have a passion. I find this fascinating. I mean, a passion. Like, why do you live? Like, why do you live? Like, why do you get up in the morning? Like, why? Most people don't have an answer for that. They're just like, well, I got to go to work. Well, I got stuff to do. I got meetings. I got to go see whoever. Like, why are you alive? It's a good question because it's the why. It's the tool the infinite gives us to ask why. If I can't answer that for myself, if Jackson's standing back there going, golly, I don't have a passion. I don't know why I get up in the morning. I got to pay a truck note. You know, I mean, is that the reason why you get up in the morning? Because you got some bills. Seems like a shallow tree that's going to get blown down in a storm. And if you're living a life without passion, are you actually living? Like, are you living? Is that a life? Are you just going through the motions of life until you die? I see that with people everywhere. I think it's pretty sad. I don't think it has to be that way. Socrates famously said, he was one of the most famous philosophers of all time, the unexamined life is not worth living. And I read that quote when I was about 20 years old, and it has stuck with me the entirety of my life. The unexamined life is not worth living. Was he right? I'm really inclined to think so. I'm really inclined to think, is it worth living if you don't know yourself? What are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing? Are you what has been referred to lately in spiritualist vernacular? You hear it a lot now. NPC, a non-player character, like in a video game. Like you see them everywhere. If you're just walking around with no passion, no reason to live, you're just a non-player character. Just an NPC. What are you doing? How do you find your passion? This is big, Bonnie. Find passion in relationships. How do you rekindle love? How do you, when I see this wonderful couple sitting out here today, like y'all always just seem loving. Like y'all seem like there's a genuine, wonderful bond between you. And I hope that is reflected when y'all see me with Jill, because that's the way I feel. And I believe that's the way she feels. So, how do you maintain that? How do you foster that? Well, for one thing, both parties have to be equally willing to meet you. But what do you do? How do you make passion grow in your relationships? How do you do it with your friendships? How do you do it like Ricky has enough passion? You know, he gets fired up about everything, but that's not the kind of passion I'm talking about. I'm talking about passion because I really enjoy being around this person. I enjoy being around my buddy. Like, I really, first time guy here today is Colin. I really like visiting with Colin once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever it is when I see him at the Shreveport Petroleum Club. Like, I really enjoy that. How do you make that passion over friendship? Like, I enjoy you, Kyle, and we've been communicating on text a lot the past, not a lot, but quite a bit since we did the cigar hour. And so I got a passion for our friendship because I've been concerned about your stress levels. I got a passion for Kevin. I got a passion for, sort of for Noah. I mean, you know, like there's a... How do you maintain that? And how do you foster a passion in your livelihood? Like, what do you do if you hate your job? Like, how do you create a passion with that? You know, how do you do it? How do you go, man, I can't wait to go be an electrician today, Jackson, when you absolutely hate it? Like, how do you find passion? How do you earn a living with a passion? What if you're a business guy and you hate every single deal, you hate even making deals? But you do it because you want to, have a higher standard of living. How do you find meaning in your life? It's a big, big, big question. And is it possible to find your passion by sitting still? Ricky? I think Ricky has been like, I like to use Ricky a lot because me and Ricky are so close. And we help each other out a lot with our stress levels and our firing up and our angry passions. If you sit still, you end up finding all kinds of weird things in your mind. there's a wonderful lady that's sitting right out here today that says she's had a hard time meditating because your mind's running 9,000 miles an hour. Sometimes we just don't like what we see in our head. Sometimes it gives us anxiety and we don't want to do it. So how long can you sit still before you go just batshit crazy? You know, most people can't sit for 5 minutes. They just can't do it. I got a brother that's like that. He just cannot sit still. So if you can't sit still without any distractions, what are you running away from? You have to be running away from something if you cannot visit with yourself, right? I know when I don't meditate sometimes, it's because I purposefully don't want to face my inner emotions. I don't want to deal with it. I want to push it off. You know, I can think about my whatever later, after I have a drink, after I smoke a cigar, after I take a nap, you know, whatever the thing. So if you can't sit with yourself, ask yourself why. Get to the root of it. It's practically impossible. Like people do this all the time. They think if you can't sit with yourself, then you can't sit with anybody else. And I'm talking about sitting and have meaningful conversations with people, not being distracted by watching some stupid football game or sitting around going to dinner and everybody's just chit-chatting with small talk or going to some senseless movie with your friends. That's not sitting with others. That's just being distracted by others. Most people go their entire life being distracted, and they never know themselves. They just don't know. They think they do. Oh, I know myself. I know what I like. I know I like Mexican food. I know I like that jacket. I know I like my belief system. But do you? We all put ourselves in a box. We have our religious box, we have our political box, our behavioral, emotional, physical boxes, our financial boxes. Most of them are just glass boxes, and we feel real comfortable in that little political slot. We feel real good in that physical slot. We feel good in all these little bitty slots that we put ourselves in. And that is really dangerous for us to know ourselves. Because ask yourself, why are you a Muslim? Why are you a Jew? Why are you a Christian? Why are you a Buddhist? Why are you an atheist? Why are you a Hindu, spiritualist? Like, why? Like, write it down. Why? Like, sell yourself on the idea. Why do I believe this? And not just based on that particular scripture, because all these different religions have their own scripture. Outside of that, get to the origins of that. Why do you believe it? If you can't answer those questions, then you have to start asking why. Why? This is one that I like to ask everybody. I just think this is one of the most fascinating questions. If you were born, any of y'all, most of us or most of y'all are Christians. If you were born in the Middle East or in India, China, the odds of you being a Christian are about zero. Zero. If a Muslim, if he was just magically not able to be born there, he was just born here in a regular American family, he would be a Christian and he wouldn't be a Muslim. It's an interesting thing. Why is that? Do we believe things because our mom and daddy told us to? Do we believe things because society tells us that's what we need to believe? It's interesting. You got to ask yourself why. If you don't ask yourself why, how will you ever know? Our political boxes, this cracks me up because last week we had a little political discussion out here and I just thought it was fascinating because most people have so much in common, but we put ourselves in this box. You're a conservative, you're a liberal, Republican, Democrat. I mean, it's just so stupid. I don't know anybody that thinks people in the United States should be hungry. Like, that's just stupid. I don't know any conservative, liberal. I don't know anybody that thinks that. I don't know anybody that thinks everybody. Now, I know a lot of people that think there are different ways to achieve the healthcare problem, but I don't know anybody that thinks it's a good idea that people should not be taken care of when they're sick. Nobody. I don't know anybody, and I have tons of friends on all over the spectrum. None of those two boxes, Democrats or Republicans, have think we should not be taking care of our vets, thinking that war is great, crime's wonderful, inflation's great, that we shouldn't be giving people a hand up. So what's all the bickering about? Because the second you get into some kind of discussion with somebody about politics and they say, oh, I'm a Democrat and this other person's a Republican, all of a sudden they just bam in most cases. Why? They don't even hear the other person because now they're, oh, I'm in my box. I'm in this comfortable spot. So I don't care what you say. All of a sudden humanity is lost. How about the behavioral box? I mean, how many, we got a lot of guys out here today. We've all probably had some girl yell at us before, right? I mean, you know, it's not pleasant and you shut off. Do they really think that you're going to, oh, I'm going to pay attention to you now because you're yelling so much? Wow, I can't wait to love you more. Man, you really know how to fire up that passion. No, it just doesn't work. So if you're not aware that you're treating somebody a way where they're shutting off, now you don't even know yourself. You can't even communicate with anybody else because you're not even paying attention. It's insanity. Are you rude? Are you using that make-believe camera to see if you're likable? Will anybody even like you? It's fascinating. What kind of behavior box are you just putting yourself in? And this is big for everybody because we live on emotions. Everything we do is emotion. Do you get upset easy? We talked about road rage a couple of months ago, and this is a different perspective, a tweak on road rage, because this occurred to me the other day because I had road rage again, and I got fired up and cussed at somebody pulling out in front of me. And I instantly thought, and I don't know where this thought came from, it just flooded into my head. And it was a girl, probably about 40-ish from what I could tell. I'm like, okay, she's probably a mom. She's a daughter. She's probably a good friend to somebody. She probably enjoys her coworkers. She probably has friends. Like I just got mad at somebody's mom because she made a mistake by pulling out in front of me. And then I thought, well, okay, how many times have I pulled out in front of somebody? I've made the same mistake. But I don't cuss myself out whenever I accidentally pulled out in front of somebody. I don't go, oh, well, you, Kevin, I can't believe you just pulled out in front of those people. You know, you don't do that. Maybe we should change our emotional frame of how we look at things. How about this physical box? You know, a lot of people take pride in taking care of their body. They're very conscientious of what they're putting into their body. They work out. I ate fried food last night, and after I got finished, I was really irritated at myself because I just very, very rarely eat fried food. I don't like it. It makes me feel sluggish. But me and Noah and Jackson and Jill brought home for some unknown reason Buffalo Wild Wings. So what do? She brings all these flavors and all four of us are just, who's the best thing ever? And as I'm about, 10 of them in, I'm like, what am I doing? I didn't say that. I grabbed a few more and still ate a couple. But when I got done, I'm like, man, why did I disrespect myself like that? Like, why did I have that little care about my body when I take such caution to protect it? Like, I'm super cautious about how I treat my body. I stretch, I work out, I practice martial arts, mostly by myself because me and Jackson have been off on our schedules. It's strange. So do we practice self-awareness of our body? I mean, do we go on a walk with our dog? Do we do passive exercise? Do we do anything to respect our bodily temple? A lot of people don't. They'd just rather sit their fat ass on the couch. That's just what they'll do. But why? What kind of respect are you giving yourself? You have that mirror sitting up there, that camera going, hey, you might want to be a little bit more self-aware. Do you like yourself doing what you're doing now? Do you like it? How about the financial box? Man, we got some people. We got, all you thousands of people that watch, which I appreciate. Thank y'all. And like it and subscribe right now, please. And, do you add value, Aaron? Like to your boss? Like, Any job you do you add value to your boss, to your clients, your business partners, where they really find you invaluable? Because if the answer is no, then you're replaceable and they can do a deal or have another employee or have another, whatever. You're just expendable. Nobody gives a shit about you. They just don't. What do you do with your spare money? Do you buy assets or do you just waste it on crap from Amazon? Instead of buying that $30 thing that you're never going to like, why didn't you buy some silver bullion? A real asset. What? Something. We buy all the crap we don't need, and then everybody wonders why they're broke. It's pretty strange. Strange thing. I think this is very important for us to get. And this is the purpose of the whole talk today, and we're almost done. But it's really, these next couple of slides are very, very important. We must give to get. We have to give. If you want romance, you got to give romance to get romance. You have to make yourself invaluable as an employer, employee, a client, a business partner, whatever. You have to give of yourself to get. You have to give effort toward yourself and respect for yourself. You have to give it in order to receive respect from others. You have to. If you want to be a part of a group and belong, you have to give of yourself in order to get the belonging and the friendship and the fellowship. You have to do those things. If you want deeper friendships, then you have to give of yourself so you get the friendships. If we don't give of ourselves, we end up having nothing. Nothing. You're just skating through life and you're just going to die. And maybe a few people show up at your funeral. And they probably are pissed off they got to go because they feel obligated. You know, life, this is a very important question we all have to ask ourselves, because life, most people are guided by life circumstances. They're not the captain of their own ship. Instead of you, the individual, guiding your life, you're allowing life to nudge you along the pathway. Instead of you making firm decisions to do this thing, that thing, to get to where you want to be. And why do I believe this thing or that thing? Why? You got to ask why. You guide yourself by what you tell yourself. I'm depressed today. I'm sad. I feel bad. Golly, I'm scared my husband's coming home. We haven't seen each other in a while. I'm afraid they're not going to like me. I've had about 8 or 10 people over the past 2 weeks that I'm pretty well acquainted with. They would probably call me a friend, but I wouldn't consider them friends. They were just well acquainted. I really like them. They like me. A friend is somebody you really communicate with a lot and do things with and for. And they have all said they've been watching our videos, and thank y'all for watching. I'm sure y'all are watching now. And I love y'all, even though we are just well acquainted. You said, I can't come out there. I feel, what if they don't like me? I have a hard time talking to people. What if I don't fit in? I don't know. I feel that way sometimes. Sometimes I get up in front of y'all and go, I think I'm going to suck today. You know, I've kind of had those feelings. But I easily get over it whenever I see everybody smiling at me. And everybody's nodding. I'm like, all right, I got this. I think at least Chase likes me. You know what I mean? It's going to be all right. So we are either good or bad, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in our physical shape, all by the narrative we tell ourselves. Oh, I don't feel like working out right now. But how about I am going to work out? I am going. Why am I going? Because I respect myself. Same way with everything else. What we tell ourselves, are we going to be like this guy? We're happy? I mean, we can't always be like that all the time. But we can always tell ourselves we're going to be in a better position mentally and physically and emotionally. We don't have to be down. And I am so fortunate and thankful I have Ricky that every time I get down, Ricky is around me so much that he always calls me out. And he's happy to call me out. I think he actually likes calling me out because I call him out so much on Sundays. I really think he enjoys it because he also sees that after he talks to me and says, hey, dude, you look a little stressed. And then we kind of smile. And as a good friend, he likes to see me smile. Or we just hold our head down like this guy with a hoodie and think life is bad, life is always going to be bad, and life just sucks. So are you just going to simply survive, or are you going to take the effort to thrive in life? Are you going to find your passion and figure out what you like to do? And if we don't have these intentional conversations with ourselves every single day and steer our own life where we want it to go, we're a rudderless boat. We're going to go to any little random island. Oh, that's our circumstance. That's it, and that's it. We have to tell ourselves where we want to go. If you want to be spiritual, you better make spiritual goals. If you want to be physical, you better make them. If you want to be better financially, you better figure it out. It's really, really important. And to know ourselves is to walk towards a path of enlightenment and remove those shackles, those boxes off of us. We have to take those glass boxes and throw them away. What is a story that you hypnotize yourself with every day? If any of that resonates with you and you are scared of making a new friend, well, don't be scared. Just navigate yourself and your self. I was about to say ass, so I'm just going to be, I didn't mean to say that, but get here. Come here. There are good people here. We're all trying to navigate this life. We're trying to figure it out. And one of my goals by talking every Sunday or interviewing people is because it helps me. And I'm glad that it helps some of y'all. And I love y'all. Thanks.